Hey everybody, welcome back to Andy's Music Vault. My name is Andy Nichols, and you might recognize me from the other show that I do with my partner Tom Agnotti, and it's Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. This is the, I don't know, third or fourth installment of this series on my own channel, and this isn't really in-depth review of an artist, but so much of the concert that I saw last night, which, as you can see from my lovely shirt, I saw The Who last night at Madison Square Garden in New York City, and it was my second time seeing the Who. And I'll do a proper Who episode installment of Andy's Music Vault eventually, where I can go a little more in depth about it. But this one's going to be just more about the concert experience, seeing the Who again, and about the set list and some of the drawbacks of live shows and the people that go to them. No, but it was a great show, and I had an awesome time. I went with my dad, and in the ranking of my bands and the music that I like, the Who is number three solidly. For a long, long time, they were number two, and then I became a little more of a prog head. But the Who is definitely number three for me after the Beatles solo and Yes. And I haven't had a lot of opportunities to see the Who a whole lot. When they were touring in the '90s, I was too young. And in the 2000s, when they toured sporadically in this area, I was either in college or couldn't swing it, or was just couldn't really do it. So the first opportunity I got to see the Who was in 2012 when they toured and did Quadrophenia from start to finish. And those of you Who fans out there that know and love Quadrophenia, I don't have to tell you, but it's one of the most important albums of all time in 1970s rock to come out in 1973, and to see them do Quadrophenia in 2012 from start to finish was absolutely amazing. And then I didn't get a chance to see them again until last night. I don't know how often they tour between now and then. I know they did in 2019 before the pandemic, but I had a work conflict, so I couldn't go. A buddy of mine went to a show in Philadelphia, which leads us to last night. So they were doing the Who was playing with the orchestra again, which I was really excited about. A lot of people don't like orchestras and rock bands combining. It's something that's been rock music has and rock and prog really have done it and coexisted for over 50 years. ELP has done it. Yes has done it live or in the studio. Of course, there's been orchestral versions of Tommy now with the Who and Quadrophenia. But this show, the Who hits back. Short little tour. I was tempting to think about maybe going up to Bethel to Woodstock to see them tomorrow, but logistically it was easier for me to see them at the Garden. And I mean, how can you go wrong with the Garden? And I've been very fortunate as of late. I saw Genesis in December at the Garden. I saw Elton John in the end of February, early March at the Garden, and now the Who, and they did not disappoint. Go. Then again, like with any concert, the videos on YouTube don't do it justice, but Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend have not lost much of a step at all. I know Daltrey's voice has had its ups and downs, like McCartney's over the last 10 years, but he's had surgery, he's had it looked after, and his voice was incredible. He even hit that high note on "Won't Get Fooled Again." I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that note, for that scream. But he hit it. He absolutely hit it. The set list. So the Who did 21 songs. They had an opening act, which I haven't been to a concert in a long time with an opening act. And the opening act tonight or last night was, oh God, this is terrible. I can't remember the name of it now. The Little Things, something like that. They were good. But the Who did not come out until about 8:50. It was late. I was looking at Setlist FM, and some shows they were coming out at 8:15, 8:20, 8:30. So I was figuring, and this time it was like almost 9 o'clock. I got to the Garden, we were in our seats by I think 7:15, so we had and we saw the whole full set. And yeah, they opened up with the orchestra, and they did a smattering of Tommy to open up with that. They did the Overture, 1921, Amazing Journey, Sparks, Pinball Wizard, and We're Not Gonna Take It from Tommy. And then they went into a few hits: Who Are You from '78, Eminence Front from It's Hard, Ball and Chain, which is a new song from their 2019 album, just simply titled Who, which is also highly recommended. It's a lot better than that Endless Wire from 2006. The album from 2019 was really good, and I really enjoy it. Highly recommend anybody to listen to that album and pick it up as well too. and then they did Join Together to close out the first portion with the orchestra. And I hadn't seen Join Together live, and that's always one of my favorite Who songs. It's a great crowd stadium song. It works well in an arena like the Garden. Then they did probably this is my favorite, other than the end, obviously, but the middle part of the show was probably my favorite part of the show, where it was just the band, and that was, we kind of got some deeper cuts, which as a hardcore Who fanatic, and just a hardcore music fan in general, I'll always go towards the deeper cuts. And we got The Seeker from 1970, You Better You Bet, which was a hit from Face Dances, The Relay, which was that Lifehouse, Who's Next, Leftover, and then into Won't Get Fooled Again and Behind Blue Eyes, in the middle set with just the band but no orchestra. So it was and then the orchestra came back out for the Quadrophenia set, which consisted of The Real Me, I'm One with Pete Townsend handling the vocals on that, 515, and then very curiously the inclusion of the penultimate track on Quadrophenia, The Rock, which is an instrumental, which really works well with an orchestra, which segues into the final track, Love, Rain, or Me. And The Rock, even when I saw it in 2012, The Rock is one of the best instrumental pieces on that whole album. It has the 4 themes that are all representative on Quadrophenia that you hear throughout that whole record. It recycled, the Helpless Dancer and the 515 riff, and is it all those, the Helpless, you hear all those themes repeated in The Rock, and they do it so well. I'm so happy that they have paid that track the tribute that it deserves, because it really works well as a concert piece, and even better with an orchestra. And then that led into a really long intro on the piano. Wonderful keyboardist that they had with them, and I'll get to that in a minute. Really longer intro for Love, Rain, or Me. It wasn't just the standard, piano opening. It was a little bit longer. And then right into, Daltrey, killing it, long, and then that was it. That was it. And then the encore, but they didn't leave the stage after Love, Rain, or Me. And they just absolutely killed it. I mean, I cannot stress enough how impressive I am. Even Townsend said last night, he goes, I'm 77 now. But, you wouldn't be able to tell it. Now, obviously, they've got musicians helping them, playing with them. And Zach Starkey, Ringo's son, has been the backbone of The Who now since 1996. He is the true heir apparent to Keith Moon. I think everybody realizes that. No disrespect to Kenny Jones, because I like the music that The Who did with Kenny Jones, especially Face Dances. And it's hard. I like that music, but it just wasn't the right fit for The Who. And Zach, for the last 25 years, has brought that to the band. And anytime you've seen them, think about the legendary, the shows. The concert for New York City, hello. The Who stole the show that night from Paul McCartney. Now, that's hard for me to say because I'm a Paul guy, but The Who stole the show that night, and Zach killed it then. So he's been with them a long time, and he's really the meat and potatoes of the band. I think the glue, really, at this stage. Roger, as I said, great. Pete has his brother, Simon Townsend, handling much of the heavy lifting with the guitar, with the lead guitar stuff, although Pete does a fair share amount of it. But his brother Simon, who's considerably younger than him, handles a good chunk of the guitar work on the show. But, when Pete did play lead, he was great. He was great at it. He didn't break any guitars, and he did do some windmilling, but at 77 years old, he's not gonna smash any guitars. He did say, though, he goes, if we lived here like Billy Joel, we'd be here once a month. But which was a funny joke that he did, and he was very engaging with the crowd all night. He was thankful that they could be back again and playing, and they talked about how the COVID had affected their own tour, that members of the crew still were dealing with it and coming down with it, and Pete said that he also himself were dealing with it. So how it was an ongoing thing, but they were just from start to finish, they were incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to go see them again. They said they'll be back in the area again in the fall, and I will definitely go, and I strongly recommend, if they're hitting your area, go see them if you're a Who fan, and if you haven't and you're a rock fan of any kind, go see them. Well, here's the songs that they did not play: My Generation, or I Can't Explain, or I Can See for Miles, which was refreshing. I didn't need to hear those songs. I really didn't. So if you were expecting to hear some of those other hits in my generation, you didn't hear them. Perfect. It's a perfectly balanced show between, and really that focuses on their two master epic, works, Tommy in the beginning and Quadrophenia at the end, with a smattering of deep cuts in the middle. Really, presented well. They had a video screen going the whole time of old shots of the Who, contemporary shots of the Who. They also paid tribute to the two men that also passed away that day in that slideshow with photos of Ray Liotta. And before the show, before the warm up band started, you even had a couple of Yes songs playing in tribute of the late great Alan White, rest in peace. Which I haven't even processed that yet, but I can't even believe it, having seen Yes 30 times in concert. What a loss that is, and that happened yesterday. So I was really kind of just focused on the Who, and then boom, you hear Alan White dies. But I heard "Owner of a Lonely Heart" and "Starship Trooper" playing in the garden before the Who came on. So when you think about all the music I like coming together in one night, it was pretty awesome and a tribute to those guys. Now the negative. People, if you're going to go to the concert, I'm talking about the 20-year-olds or the 25-year-olds, male, female, whatever. Listen, put the phone away. We had four girls in front of us who were owns almost the whole show. And then they left, I think, in the middle. I'm like, oh, maybe they won't come back. They just would not stop talking. I mean, and they're trying to dance. I'm like, lady, you're not dancing to the over. You can try to dance to the overture. You can try to dance to the rock or I'm One. Those idiots don't even know how to spell Quadrophenia, let alone what the music on it is. Don't get me started, okay? Just that people like that and their phones and the social, and I get it, it's a night out. Oh, we're going to go see the Who, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. So as an ardent student and appreciator of music, people like that at concerts absolutely drive me crazy. I know I'm not the only one. I'm sure any people watching this are probably the same exact way, and it just pisses me off to no end when people can't focus on the show. And I took my phone out to record a couple of seconds of songs that I wanted to have. That was it. I think I might have had my phone in my hand for a grand total of 5 minutes of the whole show. That was it. Didn't sit there scrolling on TikTok and blah, blah, blah. And, look at this and look at that. Don't go. Stay in the bar. Stay in the bar outside, and you can talk your heads off with all your girlfriends and everybody else. I don't even think they even knew who the members of the Who were. But, and I get it. I'm the exception to the rule. I'm the serious music fan. I get it. The music nerd. I get it. So I'm not like I'm the 1% of the people that go to these shows. Probably, I get it. But there were other people that were really into the music, and you're trying to sit and watch it, and it's going to stand up, and and I get that certain songs like "Won't Get Fooled Again," all 9 minutes. My dad and we were on our feet. We loved it. At other points you're just like, enough already. But this isn't news to anybody who's gone to a concert. You're gonna see that stuff no matter where you go. It's the nature, unless you're sitting in a nice VIP box or you're sitting in the first row of whatever section you're in, and there's nobody in front of you to do that. Now I was in good seats. We were in the 100 section, so we were kind of pointed right at the stage. But we were about, I don't know, we were in like row 18 or 19, so there was like 18 rows in front of us. So whatever. Listen, the seats were great. They were not that expensive. I was glad to be able to do it. And my father, who's an original Who fan, had just never had a chance to see them. He couldn't swing it either. So I was really happy that I could take him so he could see them now for the first time. And I think he told me he had one chance to see the Who in '67 at Forest Hills, New York, and he couldn't go then. He was a teenager. So I said, Dad, what'd you think? He goes, they sound just as good to me. So, yeah, it was great. I really can't wait to see them again. The swag, the shirts. Okay, you always got to get swag when you go to a concert, right? Usually get one T-shirt. I got this one. I opted for two this time. Again, YOLO. Okay, went with this one with the Who with the American flag. Tour dates on the back. With the tour dates right there as well. And the customary, got to have it program, book as well. Here, hits back. Lots of good photos. And basically the whole thing is an interview with Pete and Roger, basically on how the tour came together and what they're doing. And a nice section on the backing band and everybody in the band. There's Simon, Pete's brother. Lauren Gold, that's the gentleman who I mentioned that was on the keyboards, did a great job. And that's the bassist, John Button. Again, the backing band was tremendous. This was only $20, which is probably a good rate these days for that as well. And you can always look at the back there of the whole crew. Nice to see Bob Pridden still listed as the Who road crew. Bob Pridden, for anybody who doesn't know, is the longtime, much maligned sound man of the Who, who's been with the Who for 50 years, and he's the guy that used to incur the wrath of Pete Townshend's rage when he couldn't sync up all the tapes and the loops for the synthesizers back in the day for songs like Baba O'Reilly. And thankfully now in this age, it's with one push of a button it can be done. But poor Bobby Pridden used to incur quite the wrath from Townsend and Daltrey if the tapes weren't all synced up. And I saw his name in the program as well. So yeah, they say they'll be back next year. The Who have a great marketing campaign now. I'd say over the last 5 years, their website's been retooled. Their management is on point. The PR, the marketing, everything about it is very smart, very well done now. Their product has been, they've been continually pushing new product, a new album. Well, not new, 3 years ago. Archive box sets. We had the Who sell out last year. Townsend is putting together an elaborate package for Who's Next for 2023, which I cannot wait for that. We've already had archive box sets for Tommy and Quadrophenia. And please, I know, Pete and management, you're never going to see this video, but somewhere out there, please consider one for Who Are You? For the lone, saving grace that it was Keith Moon's last album. And I love Who Are You? I think it's a great record. And for just the fact that it was Keith's final album alone, it should get an archive box set. What else is in the vaults for that period? I don't know, but it would be nice. And you know what? You might as well throw the Who by numbers in as well if you're going to do Who Are You? But yeah, that's my review of the Who show. I would say 10 out of 10, not disappointed, and really not to be missed. So if they hit your area, go check them out. And I hope you don't get fooled again. See you next time. Bye.